Nay.
Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr Speaker, I'm just going to basically talk about the economy and justice today, but I'm just going to also start off, and I hope you'll indulge me with this, but I grew up in the Labour Party. I grew up a member of a family that was staunchly Labour, and I can well remember in the early 70s nagging at my mother until she actually joined the Labour Party. That was pretty much the last time anyone should have joined the Labour Party. And I now apologise to my dead mother for the fact that I nagged her until she did. But then again, Big Norm was the leader of the Labour Party, and apart from Helen Clark, they haven't had one since. So I have to say that what I've been hearing from the Labour Party is nothing about the economy, nothing about law and order, nothing about health, nothing about welfare, nothing about transport, pretty much nothing about anything that matters to the ordinary mums and dads, Kiwis who used to vote Labour and are who now wondering why they're even giving David Cunliffe 8%, and I heard a rumour today that it was down to 6.5. So that's what's going wrong with the Labour Party. So let's talk about the economy. Well, for a start, we will be in surplus. Not a huge surplus, but in surplus for this year. When we came into government at the end of 2008, we were told that we would look forward to a decade of deficits, and that we would not be in surplus. We did not inherit a growing economy. We inherited an economy that, unlike the rest of the Western world, had been in recession for a year. We went in recession first. We were there before Australia, before the UK, before these other countries, and Labour had taxed and they had spent up large. And Annette King was one of the worst performing ministers of health ever seen. But then again, she's almost was here in the 70s, but no, actually she did come here in the early 80s, so let's give her due. Now, what we are now doing is we have seen a government that has worked together right across Cabinet and right across the backbench to make sure that we have been able to secure an economy for our people, for New Zealanders, instead of what Labour did, which was tax and spend. Let's go to justice, shall we? When I became the Minister of Police in 2008, I was given the happy news that we would have to have another 12,000 prison beds in the next 10 years. 12,000 prison beds. We had 8,300, I think, at that time. I may not be quite strictly correct about that number, and Labour had left us with not enough beds, and all the graphs show them going up like this. It was unbelievable that all they did in the 2000s was to imprison people and leave them there. They inherited 5,000 people in the prisons. They left 8,500. What we had to do was to double bunk them. We had to bring in container cells, and we had to actually bring in rehabilitation. And since then, Anne Tolley, as the new Minister of Corrections last 3 years, she has doubled all that and more. So we now have the crime statistics, the best that they have been in 33 years. 33 years, not 10 years, 33 years, before they even started to be collected. 33 years. And who can argue with that? Well, the Labour Party can argue with that, but why is it that they never ask Mrs Tolley any questions on law and order these days? Well, we know why. We have brought down crime. We have actually legislated on alcohol, the very thing that Labour talked about and never did. We have cracked down on welfare fraud. We've cracked down on inefficiencies in the health system, more elective surgery for New Zealanders, looking after the people in the area that we need to. And, Mr Speaker, I can say I'm very proud to be a member of this government, and I'm so pleased I'm no longer a Labour supporter.
Honourable David Parker.